Hi, I'm Charles X. White. We have a special edition of Community Views and Solutions. We are in a season for the next 6 to 12 months that is very important to every citizen of America in Houston, Texas. We are in for the local elections coming up in November. We have the national election and the primary coming up in March of 2020. And we also have a census, national census. We're going to be focusing on several aspects of Houston, Black Houston, and transitional Houston. We'll tell you more about that in a later edition, but that's going to be a very in-depth series on different aspects of Houston. The local election, national election, and the census. We're going to be visiting with some local candidates and let them express to you why they are the best in the business and why you should vote for them. Most of our conversation is centered around, our premise is tax-based services and accountability in representatives. Of course, we know about the haves and the have-nots. We're going to do a special series on that as well. And we're going to look at some of the political codes that are now being used for today and some from yesterday. Political codes and how some decisions are made that are questionable. Let's get into it. Today we have with us Rashad Cave, who's running for a local office. And Mr. Cave, would you give us, the audience, let us know who you are, what you stand for, and why should we vote for you?
Awesome. Well, first, I just want to thank you, Mr. Charles X. White, for truly allowing me to be on the show. I've always respected you, and with you personally being in the community and working as diligently as you have, grassroots, I've always admired you and how you have stood up for the people.
Did your daddy tell you to say that?
No, I don't have a tape recorder.
Or is it a check in the mail I'm supposed to mail you or something?
Hey, look at
I don't have no money.
You'll see your payoffs. You'll see your payoffs once I get in the office. You know.
Well, that would be different. Okay.
No, but my name is Rashad Cave, and it's interesting that you say that because I'm born and raised in Crestmont Park area, which is known as South Park area, and I live in the same exact community that I was reared in. I have a loving mother and father that's still together, but that have served the community. My mother retired with HISD at Caldwell and McGregor, which are both in District D, and my father retired from Metro, which just roughly about 3 months ago. Truly serving the citizens of Houston with the transportation. I talk about this on my video roughly about, a couple of weeks ago. I was reminiscing. I was in Crestmont Park Civic Association meeting, sitting down, and I was just reflecting on how literally 30 years ago, I was in the exact same building, the exact same area, in a civic club meeting with my father. And so when I communicate and I talk to people, I tell them that I have been a part of my civic club for 30 years, and I'm 36. Which means that at a young age, I was going with my father and I understood the principles of serving at the core level, which is your community, your civic club, your associations, in some places your homeowners association. And so, when we talk about serving, that is something that has been instilled in me not only with my parents, but that I've actually walked the walk and talk the talk as far as in my community, which has given me the gall or the motivation to feel that I can truly serve the community and this district of District D.
Well, let me ask you this question that's super hot. This is hot as the sun.
All right.
How are you going to make progress in a neighborhood that's been neglected since City Councilman Homer Ford?
Yeah.
Okay, and you don't even know who Homer Ford is.
That's backdated. One of the things, and I said this actually yesterday, is that, be very wary of somebody coming in and just kind of selling dreams and selling wolf tickets. It sounds a lot easier to come to the communities and say, hey, elect me as your next city council member, and I'm going to fix every street, every pothole, every infrastructure issue that we have. And that's not practical. But one of the things that I feel that is practical is using the resources that we currently have right now, but empowering them. I talk a lot about heavy
empowering the resources or empowering the people?
And both, empowering the resources and the people. I would go on the resources first. One of the things that 311, which is the resource that we use in the city of Houston, states is that in my district, District D, the #1 complaint that we have is trash. So we're still dealing with trash in 2019. And so,
we were dealing with trash in 1986.
Exactly. And so, my statement is that I don't plan on coming in District D and eliminating and ensuring that we don't have any heavy trash. But I do have some ideas on how we can, #1, try to lessen it and to improve on making sure that we could keep our communities clean.
Well, see, that's where part 2 of the question.
Right.
If the mayor controls the budget and the agenda, how can you get an amendment to the city code? How can you get an agenda if the mayor is not for whatever it is you're talking about?
No, and that's a very good point. #1, we don't know what the election is going to turn out for the mayoral.
It don't matter,
right?
They're going to be the same. They're going to be controlling.
Right.
They're going to be all empowering.
The biggest thing is making sure that you're capable of talking and communicating effectively with every leader. I currently know that I have a great relationship with Mayor Turner, but whoever the leader is #1 being able to effectively communicate and be an advocate for your district first, because that's your #1 responsibility. But to answer your question, every council member has service dollars. The service dollars equal to $750,000 a year, which is broken into half per year, per fiscal year, throughout the year. So, of course, our budget starts in July, so that's July all the way to December, and then the other half will kick in. And what you can do with those service dollars is utilize them to the benefit of your district. So which is not anything new. So currently, right now, we have council members that are using their service dollars to have hot teams. You have it in District B, as well as something that's happening in District K, where they're investing some of their service dollars into solid waste to directly pick up trash and infrastructure or heavy waste in their district on their behalf.
Wait a minute. Let me inject.
Okay.
The solid waste department has a program. We learned this about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. They have a program for senior citizens or people with some type of physical, medical situation, that for heavy trash, they will go in your yard, on your property, get the trash and put it out on the street. Did you know about that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the reason I brought that up is because that's part of the tax-based service delivery that we're already paying for. Why would we use your extra money, so to speak, or your service dollars for that we already paying for? How can you, since the department heads work for the mayor, not the city council member,
right,
not the citizen, they work for the mayor, how would you address that as a way to improve service delivery tax base that's already being paid for?
So I would, that's a threefold question,
okay,
in my opinion. #1, first of all, solid waste not only does that, but solid waste has a senior program to where if you're a senior and you're disabled, they'll actually go to your pull your trash can to the curb as well on a weekly service.
Right.
I think any mayor that becomes this part of the head of this city wants to make sure that underneath their administration, no community is left behind, at least that should be their initiative. With that being said, no mayor would want to know that underneath their administration, there's still difficulties in certain communities with trash, hypothetical. What I'm referring to you, though, is that service dollars can be used to help assist whatever the mayor might be doing underneath the direction of solid waste to pick up trash. Because to be honest with you, I don't think the community cares how how it gets done. They just want it up.
That's correct.
And
That's
so
correct.
whether, I'm using my service dollars in addition to another tax base, they want to know that you're, number one, as a council member, you're responding to their constituent services. Number two, they want to know that they can call in and they can see some action taking place and follow up. And that's something that I have understood, and that's something I know firsthand by working for the city of Houston, and that's something that I would do being a city council representative for District D. I will also say this, and it's funny that we're talking about trash. As you know, currently right now we have probably 15 people, give or take. It might be 20 by the end of the day that might be running for city council. And I try to
city council District D.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure I communicate this to the followers that being a city council member of a district, particularly of District D, is really not sexy. And I say that to say that a lot of times I think they see people, especially in city council, with their suits on, with their ties on, looking clean on Tuesdays and open session and on Wednesdays. But when your council or when your district has needs, core needs, such as trash, such as heavy trash violations, such as dangerous buildings, weeded lots, you as a council member needs to have actually, in some cases, boots or tennis shoes, jeans, and a T-shirt every other day to truly be effective in your community, because your community is calling you seven times out of 10 for constituent issues. Ms. Johnson is calling and asking you, why is her trash picked up? Mr. Thomas is calling you because of a weeded lot. These are core issues that our district is in need of, and if you don't know how to handle them and you don't know how to address them and be responsive, you won't be a successful district council member.
Last question. Why should people vote for you? You have just articulated several examples of how you would address a long-standing need of service that constituents are concerned about and have paid for. Give me and the audience a summary of what's different about your administration as being city council member of District D. What would be the flagship that you would want to achieve for the citizens?
That's a great question. I want to just say, and of course we had limited time, so I have a platform, and the platform goes all the way from an economic development plan to a beautification plan, as well as a public safety plan. And I would just encourage everyone that is listening to the sound of my voice, take some time, go to my website.
What is your website?
Cave, 4, districtd.com. Cave with 4, districtd.com.
How you spell that?
CAVE, 4, districtd.com.
What's your phone? If somebody wanted to call you, how would they call you?
Sure, 832-723-2202. And that's my personal cell. A lot of times people are juggling 3 or 4 phones. I'm straight to the point, and I would love to answer your calls. Leave a message if I don't get back with you in a timely manner, and you'll definitely hear back from me within.
So if someone in the audience wanted to call you and have you come out and speak, all they have to do is call what number?
832-723-2202. And call me, text me, and I'll be glad to respond. But to answer your question, I want to make sure that people understand this, is that, not only do I have a plan, but my day job is I work for the city of Houston. A lot of times, again, as I stated in the beginning, you're going to hear people tell you that they have this philosophy to fix the entire city of Houston, particularly District D, and it's just going to be, awesome. But that's not the case. There's a system that's placed in front of us, and if you don't know how to work that system, you're going to spend sometimes 3 to 6 months trying to understand the infrastructure of how city works, how city government works to be effective. But most importantly, I tell people across the bridge, I tell people in my journeys, is that I truly want to be a bridge between an older generation that's truly just looking for a glimpse of a community that they once loved, and a younger generation that's nowhere to be found. And I truly think that if you look at the average age of our political figures right now, if you look at the average age of voters, we're looking at 63, 65 and older. And I think that it's important for us to truly look at making sure that we empower the next generation, and not only empower it, but empower somebody that will be able to also be a link and pass the baton when it's their time.
And your name is?
And my name is Rashad Cave,
and you're running
C-A-V-E, and I'm running for the illustrious District D, which is one of the best districts in the city of Houston, asking for your love, your support, but most importantly, your vote, November the 5th, to be your next city council member for District D.
Well, I think that's a wrap. This is Charles X. White, Community Views and Solutions. We'll see you on our next excursion through the political process, local, as we go down into the November election. We'll see you next time.